Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As you know, my name is Rod Solomons. I'm the mayoral candidate for the Credible Alternative First Movement. We're contesting elections in Cape Town, and we're having a series of Zoom sessions to give some more detail around the offering as indicated in our manifesto. And today we are dealing with a big issue. The issue is our approach to corruption, accountability, and whistleblowing. And I felt as a mayoral candidate and as a leader of this movement, I need to be firm and crystal clear and in setting out our position and how we will approach this. And the fundamental point that I want to make as a point of departure is this, and it is that the budget of the city council don't belong to a political party, to the mayor, any of the councillors, or any of the officials. It is the money of ratepayers or taxpayers that we or those who will be in council, whether they are politicians or whether they are officials, they are mere custodians of it in order to improve the lives of the people of Cape Town and to improve their living conditions. I made that point very clear when I was head of the department in the provincial government. When I started, I think it was in 1994, I made that point to the then MEC, to his office staff and to my staff, and saying that this budget, this money does not belong to us. It's taxpayers' money, and we are mere custodians of it. And I made that point clear to subsequent MECs and staff over the years and so on. I had some run-ins with some of them about it. Let me give you, I like to give practical examples. Let me give you a practical example. There was one MEC, his name, he will remain nameless, wanted to go on an overseas trip. And this trip was going to cost over 500,000 Rand, if I'm not mistaken. I just before then have come from a trip where I went out. It was a visit to sightsee and to learn from those countries, a few countries. So I came from some of the countries that he went to. So he sent his head of his office down to my office manager, wanting to get me to approve that submission. We call it in government, we call it a submission. I looked at it, I said, let me use the diplomatic words, is that there's no way we are approving this. It went back. On the submission, I wrote, not approved. I said, where are we going to get 500,000? I need to take it away from someone else, a service delivery component, in order to allow a junket overseas. Obviously, the MEC wasn't happy, went to the Premier, they called me in and all of that. Long story short, I said, I'm not going to sign this. You guys then need to approve it. I'm the accounting officer, I'm not doing it. Then I told the Premier, I said, you know what you guys can do? You can choose. You either keep the MEC or you keep me. What happened? A few weeks after, there was a cabinet reshuffle, and that person was no longer the MEC. So we need to stand up to people who want to abuse the funds of taxpayers. So let me talk in detail, because there are three issues that we want to talk about: corruption, unaccountable leaders, and whistleblowers. So the scourge of corruption and unaccountable leaders, it is something that South Africa seems to be cursed with currently. This and the absolute zero consequences for those caught with their hands in the cookie jar, or those facilitating such corruption, make ordinary people totally distrustful of those in public office or our law enforcement agencies, and people just don't believe in our democratic process. The SA First Forum, on which the credible alternative first movement is built, was brought into being because a few of us got together and said, enough is enough. And we pushed back with all our might against those who were doing wanton looting, who were unaccountable leadership, and even those who were watching from the sides, whether they were the NPA in the NPA, whether they were the police or other law enforcement agencies, or even politicians. As a CA First movement, we are quite clear that they are the masterminds in the whole issue of corruption. They are the masterminds. They are the enablers. They are the actual looters. And they are those that protect them, either actively or passively or silently, saying nothing or turning their eyes and ears to the other side, many times to protect their own interests. So the bottom line is that all of these people that I mentioned here, they are all guilty. So now that the SA First Forum has morphed into the credible alternative first movement that are contesting elections in Cape Town, we are crystal clear that we will not be party to this phenomenon of corruption and unaccountable type of leadership that has taken root in Cape Town or in South Africa, even in Cape Town, whether in the public or in the private sector. So today, as a leader of the credible alternative first movement and his male candidate for Cape Town, I wish to present to you what you can expect from us when we enter the chambers of the city of Cape Town. Let's deal with corruption first, and then if there are any questions, maybe we can deal with it, or then I can go straight into our approach to whistleblowing. Number one, we have an absolute zero tolerance to corruption or abuse of authority by anyone. And where there is sufficient evidence in aforementioned regard, the credible alternative first movement will recall or will dismiss you. Even myself can be recalled or dismissed. If we're in council, we will throw the book at you and speed up disciplinary processes in order to dismiss you, not to protect you. Secondly, companies that are guilty of corruption or colluding with officials or politicians to engage in corrupt practices will be blacklisted with immediate effect. We won't wait on National Treasury to do so because they take their time. Secondly, we won't do business with such companies for 10 years, even if they engage in company name changes or director changes or changes in shareholders, which they do. Then thirdly, any official or councillor still doing business with such a company will face immediate dismissal. Our third issue, our third offering, if the majority vote in council, vote to protect a so-called powerful individual who face serious allegations and want to frustrate processes to sanction him or her, we will do the following. We will vote against him. We or I will also report such matters to outside agencies like the Public Protector, Hawks, etc. And we hope they will do their work. But thirdly, we also won't wait on the aforementioned entities that I just mentioned to say they first need to conclude their investigations, which could take months or years, before we act, because they are legendary with their slowness and their tardiness. Fourthly, the city of Cape Town and other municipalities brag that they have an ombudsman. This is what we will do about that. The office of the ombudsman in council will be revamped in the following respects. Because it is currently toothless, it is bureaucratic, and it is unhelpful to the public. And I've interacted with that entity and I know what I'm talking about. It must be independent and not subject to the control of the mayor, of council, or even the municipal manager. It will get its own budget to assist it with its independence, and it would get security of tenure. I'm proposing that similar to the security of tenure of the public protector, that be 7 years. And it must be easy for the public to access that office or to engage with that office. So those are the things that we would do in the area of corruption and non-accountable leaders. Let's deal now our approach to the issue of whistleblowing. You know, the one thing is without someone sharing the information about corrupt practices or unaccountable leaders in a government entity, in a private sector entity, national government, provincial government, or a city council, none of us will be wiser about it. Journalists won't have stories to write about or investigate, or law enforcement agencies won't know what to do, what and who to investigate or to prosecute. So someone blowing the whistle is absolutely crucial and critical to us dealing with corruption and weeding out unaccountable leaders in South Africa or in the city of Cape Town. So South Africa owes a debt of gratitude to every single whistleblower and the need to be protected, supported, and acknowledged. So what will we do critically around whistleblowing? As I say, whistleblowing is crucial to weed out or deal with corruption. So being a whistleblower will be, when we are in charge, it will be a badge of honor, and people don't need to be fearful of that. Because as I said, without whistleblowers, we won't know about corruption, nepotism, or even bad practices within council. So whistleblowers will be protected and supported by us. There are lots of other entities that have done work around whistleblowing. The SA First Forum, for example, declared 2021 the year of the whistleblower. I believe others are going to continue to declare whistleblowing the 2022 the year of the whistleblower as well, and it will have our full support. We will create a small unit that, in order to follow up or to deal with whistleblowing matters in all respects, whether to support whistleblowers or to protect whistleblowers. So there will be a secure unit to deal with that. Another important point around this is also false reporting to tarnish an individual's reputation will also be subject to punishment. Another specific offering that we are making, and it's not a promise, it's an offering and it's an undertaking, that all councillors and managers within the city of Cape Town, if we are in charge, they must undergo a lifestyle audit every 2 years. And if there's no adequate explanation for your lifestyle changes or my lifestyle changes, you can face a sanction that can even lead to dismissal. And as a council, we will issue an anti-corruption and a whistleblowing report every year that everyone can engage with. So being non-corrupt must be in the DNA of every city of Cape Town, politician and official, especially the officials. And that must be in their DNA if they are working in a council where we are in charge of. Tender and procurement processes must be simple and transparent. The one thing that we found is tender processes are being rigged in order to assist certain individuals that support political parties in other ways. So there will be no favoritism for certain companies. We have a sense of who these companies are, but when we go there, we'll go in with an open mind. And there must be a simpler and more serious consequences for those. You know, every councillor or even senior official, they sign a code of conduct that everyone say, and they do an oath of office. So everyone that breaks that code of conduct and oath of office, there must be a simpler and speedier way for us to deal with those who are breaking that code of office and know the codes of conduct and who are breaking the oath of office. So finally, I'd like to say, if you are anti-corruption, if you want accountable officials, and if you appreciate the efforts of whistleblowers, then you will find the credible alternative first movement a credible option to vote for. And you can take us, as I say, you can take us to the bank. And if we renege on any of this, then you can say, Rod Solomons or any of those councillors, they are liars. They're the same like the rest of them. And my last day on earth, I don't want to be known like that. So that is our offering. It is simple. It is to the point. It is clear. There is hardly any legalese in all of this, so that people can understand what they will get when they vote for the credible alternative first movement. And remember, on the ballot paper on 1 November, it would be CA first, our logo, and CA first. There's a question around too many whistleblowers being killed and no arrests or prosecutions is a lack of will. It is absolutely clear. It's crystal clear. There's lack of will. There's lack of capacity. They can't say they don't have resources. There are adequate resources. Budgets are available, and there's just no will. And especially if senior politicians or politicians who are in a particular camp are involved, you will see these things being dragged on forever and ever. So I think one of the things that would be useful, if actually there is a court case about someone that killed a whistleblower, like the lady in from KZN in the Gauteng Health Department. I wonder how long that case is going to go on. But the point is, once the perpetrators are found guilty, then the magistrate or the judge should make an example and throw the book at them and give them the severest sentence, so that people know that you're not going to get away from with that kind of action. You see, there's another question and comment from Mark Falloon. Let me see what Mark is saying. Mark, in essence, is asking about the history of whistleblowers being thrown to the dogs, no protection, especially financially when the case is going on. Their livelihoods are affected immediately when coming forward. So that's the main problem when they're wanting to report corruption. And also BBE benefited the whites who easily started parallel companies alongside the Lily White-owned companies. How will you deal with this? So the one issue is the throwing of whistleblowers to the dogs, and it is, and you're right, Mark, it is a financially burdensome issue for someone to become a whistleblower, because your bosses that you potentially do the whistleblowing against are in control. They can move you, they can put you in suspension or whatever, and so on. So while the case is going on, you could be crippled financially. That's why we're talking about support for whistleblowers. There is a group where people like Willie Hofmeyer and Pops Rampasad and others are involved in. They've worked out mechanisms and solutions of how to deal with whistleblowers, both in terms of supporting them and protecting them. And we fully subscribe to that. So it is clear, whistleblowers needs to be supported financially, and there must be zero tolerance to there being consequences or adverse consequences to those who come forward as whistleblowers. And if need be, that needs to be put in legislation. Then the other issue that you're saying about, white companies form through BEE, they form a parallel company, and they form a parallel BEE company in order to get the tender, but the tender gets then still delivered by the previously white company. So that is also a form of corruption. And it's precisely those kind of things that we want to weed out. There must be consequences. That's why I said companies would be blacklisted even where they change their directorship, they change their names, or they change their shareholding. So that is definitely our stance. Then Dennis Pillay, Rod, can you investigate what's happening to the 429 million court case instituted by the city against the 3 construction companies implicated in the Cape Town Stadium corruption? Dennis, I can guarantee you clearly, I was involved with I just want to switch my phone off, with the Football World Cup 2010, but I left early in the process. And I know about some of the corruption and the allegations against some of the companies, where some of these companies had to paid, what did they pay? A fine. And some of these things are still hanging in the air. If those cases, definitely, should I become the mayor, it would get attention. And irrespective of who these companies are, how old they are, etc., there will be consequences. We will not do business with them again. I can guarantee you that. And if need be, we'll go to court with them, but we will not do business with them. So that we can guarantee, Dennis. Any other questions? Yeah, I don't want to belabor the point. If there are no, I'll give a few more minutes for people to be able to raise a question in the comment in the chats. And if you want to raise your hand, you want a question that you want to pose while you are here with us, then we would acknowledge that and we'd allow you to ask a question. I see no raised hands. From here, I'm doing some campaigning, not traditional campaigning, but going out in the community. I'm out in, what is the area? River Kleinvlei later on today. Any other questions? Then can we thank you all for joining us. We'll do our next Zoom. I think it would probably be around our approach to environmental matters and cleanliness. I think that's a big issue in Cape Town, in the city of Cape Town. We're doing it on Tuesday evening, I think. It's from 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. So please join us so that you can understand better our approach in respect of the environment and cleaning. This podcast, I believe I see now it's the 20th of October, not the 19th. Yes, the 19th, I need to be in Atlantis. So the 20th of October, this podcast would be available on our website and on our YouTube channel and on Facebook later. Please share it with your friends. And the session of last night that we did around housing and spatial planning that Sean Lewis and myself did, that is now on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And our website is www.ca1st.org.za. Encourage your friends to vote or support the CA First Forum, the Credible Alternative First Forum. And please encourage them to donate to us. We're not really funded by big corporates, etc. We self-funded and we depend on donations of people who support us. Our email address is info@ca1st.org.za should you have any questions and any suggestions for us. Thank you. Thanks all of you for joining us on this Saturday morning. This is Rod, the mayoral candidate for Cape Town. All the best. Thank you. Bye.